Hello and welcome to 91.9 Public Affairs and APSU-TV. I'm Micah Terrell. Many of us are keeping a close eye on China and its changing relationships and policies as we see the news develop around the world about tariffs and many other things, of course. We're keeping a close eye on that, and we're honored today to have one of the world's global experts on China and its policies and relationships here with us today from Belgrade, Serbia, Dr. Ivona Ladevac. Thank you so much for joining us. She's the Deputy Director of the Institute of Politics and Economics in Belgrade. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you very much for inviting me. It is my pleasure to be here, and also thank you for such a wonderful announcement. Of course,
Of course.
it sounds nice to be considered as the one of the biggest world experts for China.
Right, and you came here to Austin Peay as part of the partnership between the IIPE and our own Institute of National Security and Military Studies, which is awesome. And so you got to talk with students and talk more about China. Your keynote address was all about China's evolving role in Europe and in the Balkans. So we'll get to that in just a moment. I just want to give the folks who may not know what the IIPE is, give some background about the IIPE. So it was founded in 1947. It's one of Serbia's leading governmental research institutes, and I know you've done a lot of work, and we'll talk about that in a moment. And it's the oldest state-funded institute of international relations in Europe, which is amazing and very important too. And of course, played a big role in shaping relations and policy too. So again, let's talk about your perspective and your international perspective and your background first. So tell us more about, you've been at the Institute since 2001, so that's amazing. So
Yes.
what's your journey been like?
Well, true. I entered into the institute in 2001, and it was immediately after I finished my faculty, and I was gained my university degree from the Faculty of Political Science in Belgrade University. I was in the group of talented students, let's call. They are calling like that because I have my average grading mark above 8.5. So there was the group of 10 of us that entered at the moment in June 2001 at the Institute. And from then, out of that group, there are 2 more colleagues that remain there together with me. And I'm so proud that I had this road of that I started as a research assistant, and now I'm the deputy director there. So there were different phases of developing of the Institute. We had some points of time that was not so easy to work there because unfortunately the position of science within our system is not so good, no one is interested to invest in science. They can't realize how important it is. I mean, maybe they're more interested to invest in strong science, let's say like that, but in social sciences not. Although it is very important, especially for those scientists that are taking care about international relations and that are working for improving the position of our country in the world of today.
Right. And you've held leadership roles. You mentioned you did research assistant roles and of course, built into your roles. What's it like being a deputy director? What are some of the things you do as part of a day that you're in the office and doing research and many other things?
Yes, there are a lot of responsibilities that I have to take care about. Unfortunately, my research is suffering because of that, but I'm trying to combine it. So during my every working day, which is every day, so I am at the office until 1 o'clock maybe. After that, I'm working on research at home. But being at the Institute, I'm taking care about all these researchers, how they are doing their responsibilities, because each of them is obliged to prepare depending on their academic rank, how many papers they should write per year. So I'm taking care about that because it's very important for them to preserve their job. If they are not fulfill that demands, we would be, just forced to say them goodbye, and we are not looking forward to that because currently we have 47 researchers and each of them are full employed at the Institute, and out of them there are 12 research assistants. And they're very young people and very talented, and we're special taking care about them, and we're finding proper mentors for them to finish their doctoral obligations at their studies. And they're studying political science, security studies, economy, and international law to fulfill all their obligations, and then to also to work at the institute. Apart that, we have a lot to do in organizing different conferences. Only this year we planned to have 14, which is not very easy, because there's a lot of activities that you have prepared, and there are a lot of people that you have contacted, but still we are managing to do that. Also, we have our publication plan. So last year we published 17 monographs, which is quite a large number for our institute, and Serbian circumstances as well, and also thematic collections. Also, we have our 4 scientific journals, and also there are a lot of jobs that is connected to that, because all of them should to be published regularly. Until last June, I was the editor-in-chief of our oldest international problems. That is the name of our journal. And now I have plans to include it in the Scopus list or Web of Science. And there's a lot of things to do. So we are trying to find good writers and scholars from worldwide scholars, because it is important to have this international recognition. And I'm proud to say that we had the authors from Austin Peay University. Dr. Rudy Baker wrote for us, and I'm free to invite his colleagues also to contribute to that.
Right, so you get a lot of great perspectives, and you also shared a great perspective in your work that you did about the One Belt, One Road, and wanted to talk what was really unique about that research, and what did it lead to?
Actually, I'm the mother of that research center that was established in 2017, and I'm very proud of that. Because at the beginning, when I'm deciding to write my PhD, I was totally in the international law. Because I also had 1 year that I taught the international law at the Faculty of Political Science, and I was thinking to write about the decisions of the European Court of Human Rights. But in 2011, it happened that I went to China because some colleague couldn't make it to go there on that journey, and it was a journey that took 2 weeks. So I went to China for the first time, and something happened, because I was there and I was seeing the different country. I had a lot of prejudices of it, but everything changed. And we didn't go only to Beijing, but we also saw the inner parts of China. And I was starting to think maybe that will be the topic that I would like to work on. And this is how I decided to quit my writing the thesis on European Court of Human Rights and just withdraw from the international law and applied for the new PhD within the Faculty of International Security Studies. And I chose to write about strategic partnership of Russian Federation and the People's Republic of China. And at that moment, we also had this Belt and Road initiative that was just announced by the President Xi Jinping, and there was a cooperation between China and Central and Eastern European countries. So one thing led to another, and through our connections with the Chinese Academy of Social Sciences, we decided to sign an agreement with the Institute of European Studies, and that happened in 2017. We decided to establish the center within our Institute of Belt and Road Studies. I was the first head of that center, and what is unique about that, it is one of the first centers that was established in Europe within the State Institute, and it was even we established it before the Party School of China established their own institute, their own center on Belt and Road Studies. From then, there are 8 years, of course. We started at the beginning, it was only me and one colleague, and now we have 6 researchers there, and they're very prominent. They are dealing with the international economy and the international security and international politics, and we are growing. I still consider myself as the member of that center, although I'm not anymore the head of that center, but this is my baby, and definitely I will always remain in that field.
That's awesome. That's so cool to be part of the birth of that center even before the Chinese did.
Yes,
Awesome. So if you're just joining us, I'm Micah Terrell with 91.9 Public Affairs and APSU-TV. We're talking with Dr. Ivona Ladevac, and she's from the Institute of International Politics and Economics in Belgrade in Serbia. And it's so cool to talk about all the cool centers and educational research that you've done about policy and about economics. So I want to ask you, so you got to talk about a little bit about China with our students. Could you talk with us about what China's role has been in the Balkans? We've seen, and I was watching the video with President Xi Jinping talking about the bridge over the Danube, how that's been so important. Tell us a little bit more about how China's been very vital.
Yes, China's presence in the Balkans is very strong because China came into the Balkans with this Belt and Road Initiative and this cooperation with between China and Central and Eastern countries of Europe. China evolved there after the breaking up of the world economic crisis because all these Balkan countries were laying behind. Each of them has this foreign policy goal to join the EU. Unfortunately, there isn't some kind of currently there is no intention of the European Union or ability to expand its members, and that is how China just came in the right moment, because all these countries now have the support of China in developing primarily their infrastructure projects. In Serbia, there is a specific situation because in 2008 and then in 2009, we even concluded strategic partnership agreement with China, and from that moment we have developing these political relations. We very soon brought it to very, very high level. So in 2015, we were the first country in Europe that had no visas with China, which helped us a lot, and also the Chinese investors who came into Serbia. You said that was the bridge. That bridge was built in only 2 years or 3 years as the most, and this is very important for us. Although it was criticized why only Chinese workers are engaged, it was better because unfortunately I am a Serb, but our workers or our management, and they're not likely to respect the deadlines. So if that bridge was built by Serbs, probably we would wait for it still. And other Chinese projects are also involved with the infrastructure, so they invested money in the highways and the thermal electronic plants and in steel mills. All of these investments are something that will remain in Serbia. So it's not that they invested into something in order to take the profit and to go out. The specific case is with the mining company Bor, which was really in very tough position until the Chinese company came in 2017. It is true they preserve old working places, which is about 5,000 workers, and they are investing in other working places. But there is some problems with the thing that apart from exploring the copper from that mine, they are also having some kind of gold. So this is mainly the export gold. There is a small portion that remains in Serbia, and that is not good for us, but it is also to us to be blamed because of the bad negotiations with China. That is our problem with our political structures, not with Chinese. But from the perspective of that city, it's good that the Chinese are there because they, as I said, preserve the working places. And there are a lot of other areas in which China is interesting to invest. There is also cooperation in the field of science. And firstly, I was puzzled why China signed with Serbia agreement of cooperation in exploring the space. And after that, it was last June, I met a guy who works in China, and he's a citizen of Serbia, and he's an astronomer. and he's the best astronomer in the world, and he is engaged on working to work on the telescope, which is now the biggest telescope in the world. So this is why this agreement has been concluded, because we have the people, although we don't have resources, or maybe we don't have much technique or technology, but we have the brain. So this is how the brain is involved into exploring the space.
Wow, really cool. So it seems like we China, at least in Serbia, China, it seems almost like a stabilizing kind of partner in some respects. But then I'm thinking about here in America, there's a different perception, a different perspective. Talk about that and how who's kind of contrasted, and you have a unique, framing of your own to see these both yourself.
True, true. But what is important for the audience to know, and maybe for you if it's not present to you, Serbia has its own foreign policy, and it is based on 4 pillars. That means that we are cooperating with the European Union, with the Russian Federation, with China, and the United States. So we are trying to have the balanced policy, because we are the part of the European Union, and we are on our accession part. We are a candidate country, but unfortunately, due to those developments in the European Union, it's not happening as fast as we want to be. From the other point, there are some politics of conditionality that is imposed towards European Union to Serbia, and it is mainly the matter of the recognition of the so-called Kosovo Republic, which is not something Serbia will accept anywhere. And from the other hand, we have the China that have no such requests towards Serbia. So you're free to develop your politics, of course, and to cooperate with whom you want. And also, we have the benefits from our cooperation with China. Speaking of the United States, I think we have fair relations. Of course, there was that problematic period of the 90s, especially in 1999, when America was the first country who decided to get these NATO forces to bomb Serbia. And this is something that is present with Serbian people, of course. And if you have any chance to come to Belgrade, you will still see the buildings that remain from that bombings. That is the problem. But of course, we should go further and to talk about the future. And therefore, there are some kind of agreements that have been reached with the American administration that should lead to better economic cooperation between two countries. And there are a lot of exchange of researchers, of scholars, and there are possibilities for students from Serbia to go to America. And there is also growing interest in some American students to come to Serbia. We saw that also with the Austin Peay students who recently joined us. Currently, I understand that this moment is very complicated. We know that 2 days ago, or maybe it was yesterday, there were new tariffs that were imposed to the foreign goods. And at the first moment, there were more than 180 countries that should expect these new tariffs from America. That will be applied to their goods that are planned to export to America. But we also heard yesterday that it is posed that decision, but what remained is the tariffs that are imposed to the Chinese goods, and that they even increased from 104 to 125%. It is up now. We will see what will happen. We can expect that there will be big recession, of course, in the world economy, and that there will be some kind of a turmoil in the in the market, and also in the investments plans. As far as I know, there are a lot of goods that must be imported from China to United States, and I'm pretty sure that will affect also the American factories and their plans and American investors. So I can't say that this is the wise decision that was made by American administration, but we will see. In that respect, I can feel that maybe with the new ambassador that is going to be sent to Serbia, and he's of Serbian origin, Mark Brnovich, Serbian authorities will experience some kind of new pressure because of cooperation with China. But not only America, each country should understand that Serbia, as any other country, has its own national interests. So, as it is the interest of United States to create a stable environment and good living conditions for their citizens, it is up that Serbia also should do for their own citizens. And I think that policy of pressures, it's not good. You know, it's better to sit at the table and then to start to negotiate and to see how to create environment in which all countries can have blooming or blossoming economies and very satisfied citizens.
Right, and you've done a lot of research about what has happened in the past and what can happen. And obviously, you're paying close attention. As you said, this is developing and like history is happening, right? So how, and you even mentioned at the outset how sometimes government doesn't recognize how valuable social sciences are. And so we're seeing that happening. How can you, I guess, what would your argument be to people who don't understand the value of being able to have Austin Peay students go to the Institute in Belgrade and to learn, and then also having Serbian students come here to America? How would you argue to those folks who say, oh, higher education and the social sciences, not so much? What would you say in support of that need for that kind of education?
Well, the first argument would be that we all are living in a society and we need the interaction with others, of course. Not only we can start from our neighborhood or from our colleagues at work. And speaking of the other countries, it is also very necessary to know others, because if we know our better different cultures and different civilizations, maybe like speaking in the civilization terms, even there would be less misunderstandings between the people, because you can have the conversation with those two students that were in Serbia. They are really surprised because usually they can see something only narrow picture in the media. And you never know who is behind the camera and who is writing these scenarios. So it's always better to have your own experience, to feel the real people, ordinary people. Both students are saying that the people in Serbia were very hospitable towards them, and their hospitality, that they were warm, and they could see that although the America and Serbia are so far, there are some problems that are similar to the citizens in both countries. And speaking for the relevance of social sciences, it is very important because of the developing our further educational systems in the entire world, because you can detect what is the emerging problem. What is the problem of today? Because social sciences in the 18th century and 21st, they are not the same. We have so many factors that now affect our lives, and it can be only explained through social sciences. And what we do at the Institute, we are publishing our reports, of course, not only for scholars, but also for the people who can read it. And it is important for them to understand what kind of developments they can expect. And we also prepare some analysis that we are submitting to our authorities, to our president or to our Ministry of Foreign Affairs, and we are trying to, just to show them in what direction they should push our foreign policy or the policy as a whole. Unfortunately, it's not something that they always accept, and I would say wherever they didn't accept it, they made a mistake. But I hope so that finally they will realize that there are people that know more than they, and that we are in the service of our country and our citizens.
Wonderful stuff and so much great information. We talked about so much. What did we not talk about that you would like to address?
Well, I would like to speak more. Maybe you mean only the Serbia or the cooperation between institute and the Austin Peay or something?
Yes, cooperation between the institutes. So we have the great institute here with the Institute of National Security and Military Studies, and then the Institute of International Politics and Economics in Serbia that are partnering up to have this great cooperation. Tell us about how that's
Yes,
working.
it is a great thing for us. I have to say that our network of international partners is very wide, and since the institute was founded in 1947, it is logical. But unfortunately, during the period of 90s, some of those cooperations were stopped. But with the after the 2000, and especially with this new management that we have, and it started in 2015 when our current director Branislav Đorđević came, we started again to revive this type of cooperation. So now we have as the partner at the most west, it is the partner in Argentina, while at the east we have Japan and Kyoto University. So we were lacking of partner in United States, and the initiative for that partnership came during the first staying of Dr. Baker, Rudy Baker, in the Belgrade. So he was at our internship there, and then we started to discuss about possibility to connect. We did that, and last year we signed an agreement, and we started immediately to implement it. So we have something called the Winter School of International Relations. We invited the Austin Peay. They had their own week there during our winter school. Last year was the first one. This year was the second one. This year we had the Austin Peay students. We hope also to send our students here. We had organized international conference together, and the public and we published the thematic collection of papers for this year. We even this May, we are organizing conference dedicated to the Second World War, the 80 years after the Second World War, and Austin Peay is our partner there. They will also join us at the end of this year. We are organizing a big conference on China, and for the next year, we are also organizing the conference about it's called something like Squaring the Circle. And it is dedicated to all the changes in international relations. So I hope that we will even make firmer our relations with the Austin Peay University, and that this will be, some bright point in the relations between scientific and educational institutions between United States of America and Serbia.
We hope so too, and it was so great having you visit us. What have you enjoyed the most about your visit with us recently?
Well, I'm very happy that finally we have a sun, because on the day when I arrived here, it was so much rain. It was raining all the time. I loved Clarksville. I love Clarksville, and this is something how I was imagining a small city in the Tennessee. Yesterday I went to Nashville. And I also had the opportunity to enjoy their country music at noon, which is very unusual, of course. And the day before, I went to the hockey game. And this was a very, very special event for me, because I never before went to hockey game, and especially not in the NHL.
Right.
It is like a dream. So,
what did you get to? Did you wave any fangs or anything, or
actually I got a dress. I received these clothes from the
nice.
Panthers. Yes, these Predators.
Predators. Yeah.
Yes, now I have it. Also, I can join to the fans, to the Predators.
Very cool.
And of course they won.
It
was 7-6, which was excellent. Yes.
Nice. Now we need to teach you how to chirp too. We need to teach you how to chirp like a
Thank you.
player. Ivona, it was so nice to have you with us. Thank you so much.
Thank you again.
And I'm Micah Terrell with 91.9 FM and also with APSU-TV. We thank Dr. Ivona Ladevac coming all the way from the Institute of International Politics and Economics in Belgrade, Serbia to join us. Thank you so much.